with KTRS at night with the sports guys. Mike Shildt, take off the interim tag. He is my guy.
You're all in.
I'm in.
I can see why fans are starting to feel that way. The Cardinals have now won 3 consecutive series for the first time all season, and they're not against pushovers either. They're all against teams with better records than them. I think you're seeing the more exciting brand too. Mike Shildt is not. He's got to play with the guy. He's coach managed with the guys that he has, but you are seeing an improved offense, a more aggressive offense. Some of the errors are decreasing. They've only had 1 error, I think, in their past 6 games now, and you're seeing more runs per game. So when you combine better offense and better defense with some snappier, tactitional moves, then yeah, people are going to like what they see, especially when you're winning at a higher rate.
Explain to me. I mean, Mike Matheny wasn't making the errors. Mike Matheny wasn't hitting for Marcell Ozuna. So why is it that less errors only 3 weeks into this new regime? What's the difference?
Well, I think you're seeing him. I think some ways you're seeing the defense prioritized. In the past, the Cardinals had tried to work Jose Martinez's bat in at first base, even though his glove was one of the worst in the majors there. And I don't mean that as a shot at Jose. He worked hard at it. He just wasn't a first baseman. You've seen Shildt kind of trend back to more defense first to try to boost the pitching. It also helps that Paul DeJong has been back. Some of those errors were coming at shortstop, but I do think this is kind of some of this ties back to kind of the change in voice thing. It's like in any job when a new boss comes in, you're probably going to show up to work with your tie on straight and not walk in 5 minutes late. You're trying to make a good impression. You're aware that something wasn't going right, so changes have been made, and you don't want to be the next one who's changed. So I think anytime you have a changeover in leadership, there's going to be some more attention to detail, especially when he realizes that was one of the reasons that he's in that spot. I mean, when you asked John Lozano what he wanted to see from Mike Shildt to get this job long term, he said improved base running, improved defense, and a better energy about the team. And I think so far, he's only a quarter into this audition, if you think of it in terms of that way. There's still plenty of time for him to prove himself or not. But so far, I think they're getting some of the results they hope to see.
Yeah. Do you think Mike Matheny coaches anywhere?
I think he probably will. Now, I don't know if he'll jump right back into managing, but I think with the record that he has, that he will eventually get a shot if that's what he wants. He said right away afterwards that he was interested in that. And I don't know if it'll be within the Cardinals organization at some level or if he'll branch out. I do think a lot of managers, Tony La Russa said this, are better off in their second or third job based on what they learned the first time around. So with the record that he has, he's a winning manager. He's done things that no other manager has done. And taking his team to the postseason the first 4 years, in his first 4 years on the job. So he'll have a resume that looks good to other markets if he decides to get back into it at some point down the line.
You look at Joe Torre when he was fired here in St. Louis in the mid to...
Turned out okay.
Yeah, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer if he gets fired from St. Louis and never coaches for the Yankees, right? But he goes to the Yankees. It was sort of a perfect situation. He was the calm in the Steinbrenner storm, and then that sort of propelled him to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, guys have, rebounds. Every manager in baseball will tell you that if you manage long enough, you're likely going to be fired. It's kind of like being a college football coach.
Right.
There's very few guys who manage one team for their whole career and never have to pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and go back at it. And like any of us, we all learn from things that don't work, right? I've learned from bad columns I've written. I've learned from previous jobs. I'm sure you've never been fired ever, but you can imagine what it's like to try to go, okay, what didn't work? How can I make it better the next time around? And I think Matheny will fall into that camp, and he does want to manage again. He said that right away as soon as he left this job. So I think as time goes by, he'll become an attractive candidate to some of these other teams out there.
Well, I have been fired. And also, let me tell you that Lady Kenmores suck, Crash. Lady Kenmores are no good. Ben Fredersen, St. Louis Post Dispatch, STLtoday.com with the sports guys, and maybe you'll see him more at the music.